Tonight on this episode of Mike Crispy Unafraid, President Trump versus CNN. One side is defending criminal, illegal, killer gang members. You'll never believe who it is. And the other one is just saying, how about we keep America safe? We're going to talk about the wild scene yesterday in the Oval Office. President Trump hosting the president of El Salvador. We got all of that and so much more. I want to welcome everybody to this very special Tuned Up Tuesday edition of the show today, and I need you to help us get this party started by rumbling this video. That is a thumbs up on the browser, as a thumbs up on the mobile app. You click it, you hit it, you tap it, you share this, and you get us to the top of these Rumble leaderboards because it is the only place that we belong. So, got a big show for you today. I'm ready. Producer Frank is ready. I believe you better be too, and let's go. Hello, everybody. Mike Crispy here, coming live from New York on this Tuesday, April 15th, and I am joined in studio by the one and only. He's the most bass producer in the game, and you know, Frankie and I have been doing this for 600 shows now, and there's always something going on with the tech that, you know, keeps Frankie on his toes, but that's why he is the best producer in the game. The show always goes on. Frankie, how we doing, sir?
It almost feels like if there are no problems, Mike, my purpose starts to diminish. So, you know, we hate him, we love him, keeps me paid, keeps me doing my job. Hey, who could complain? Not me.
Well,
you can, though.
You know what? It's all right. We're gonna. Well, of course. I mean, you got to. I mean, that keeps everything good. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning into the show today. We got a big show, and obviously our technical is always on point. Producer Frankie's got some new features that he's gonna roll out today. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's big stuff. Maybe that's why it happened. No, I'm kidding. That's not why. But big show, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. Obviously, yesterday was a big day at the White House, and it was a big day at the White House because I like the chat. You got this, Frankie. See, only positive encouragement. It's very good.
No one would have known there's any problem at all, but Mike just decides to tell everyone that we're going through issues, you know, our private lives as, you know, as a couple. Kidding. Yes.
The pride, and the pride. It's producer pride. Log says, I want Frankie to be my producer. Log, that would require you to have a show, and you don't even watch the show every day anymore, so how do you have the commitment to have a daily podcast if you can't even watch this podcast every day? Well, I appreciate everybody who's tuning in. Obviously, you guys know that we're doing the show in a nice, informal, fun way. We're trying to get our viewers up, so guys, make sure you share. If you could all do us a favor and share out on your social medias, rumble.com/crispy, so we can get this show popping every single day. We want Rumble. To obviously be popping off because we are on Real America's Voice TV every Saturday and Sunday night, 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. But we obviously want to make this a success too. So make sure you are subscribed to rumble.com/crispy. Make sure your friends are. Make sure you're sharing this out on your socials. And make sure you're checking us out every weekend. Last Call with Mike Crispy and, of course, producer Frankie on Real America's Voice. It is the hottest show on late night television, and people love it. People love it right now. I want to start the show with something going on. Obviously, we have a very fascinating turn of events where the left-wing press has decided to do a full court press in support of illegal criminal, gang member, rapist, murderer, psychopathic subhumans. That's what the left has resorted themselves to doing. And we have this tweet here from PBS News, which President Trump said he wanted to defund PBS and he wanted to defund NPR. I mean, I don't know why we would pay for either one of them, because at this stage of the game, they get enough NGO funding. So why would we be funding PBS and NPR? We are funding PBS and NPR, and it really doesn't make much sense because nobody watches it, and there's enough independent media out there to where any word can get out about anything. This little thing called the internet, PBS and NPR are absolutely antiquated, and they serve no purpose anymore. Why would we need to fund these media outlets? I mean, yeah, maybe back in the day, like to get information out there in the public when there was no internet, yeah, maybe we needed PBS and NPR. Okay, and we fund them so there are sources to get information out when information needed to get out. We don't need it anymore. So all it's turned into is taking of taxpayer money to push left-wing bullshit. That's what PBS and NPR have turned into. And it's amazing whenever, this is just how fake these people are, whenever they talk about defunding these institutions, they go, well, Trump wants to shut down the free press. It has nothing to do with shutting down the free press. It has everything to do with taking money back, okay, and putting it back into things that actually matter. Funding left-wing rags is not good for the people. It literally serves no interest but the interest of a select globalist few. But that's what PBS and NPR have turned into. This is how bad PBS is, for example. You see a tweet that they had from the Oval Office, and then we'll show you what actually happened, okay? Real news versus fake news. Again, this was also, Frankie, PBS and NPR was around during the days where, like, they didn't even have live streaming. Like, there was no live streaming. There was no live broadcast. So, like, you couldn't take a camera, put it in the Oval Office, and just show people unfiltered stuff. Like, that didn't even exist when we started funding these organizations, these media organizations that are just so obsolete. PBS said President Donald Trump's top advisors and Bukele, the president of El Salvador, said Monday they had no basis for the Central American nation to return Kilmar Abrero Garcia, a Maryland man who was wrongfully deported there last month. First of all, a Maryland man. He's not a Maryland man. He's an El Salvadorian man. He's not a Maryland man. And they left out the best part. It said he's a MS-13 gang member. We deported a El Salvadorian resident MS-13 gang member, and PBS calls him a Maryland man. Let me ask you this. If I go on vacation tomorrow to the Bahamas and I decide I'm never going to leave, does anybody in the press ever call me a Bahamian man? No. They'd say a New Jersey man. It's the stupidest thing ever. It's so stupid. That is what we fund with our tax dollars. So that is a Maryland man in the eyes of the fake news. What about Maryland women? Okay, again, so an El Salvadorian criminal gang member is known as a Maryland man. Not true at all, and that's what they talk about, is that he was wrongfully deported. Meanwhile, he was a criminal gang member of an international terrorist organization, which MS-13 is. But you've heard nothing in the press about this Maryland woman. There was a Maryland woman who was killed, and again, there's the I don't want to say the word irony, but it's kind of unbelievable, like the paradoxical, story here. You have criminal MS-13 gang member deported, and then you have a woman who was murdered in Maryland by a criminal illegal alien. Is anybody talking about her on CNN or on PBS or on NPR? The answer is absolutely not. Trump talked about it. He said moments ago, the illegal criminal who was allowed into our country by crooked Joe Biden was convicted of a heinous murder of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a beautiful mother of 5 from Maryland, and her life was taken at the hands of a monster who should have never been here in the first place. Hey, fake news is actually what a resident of Maryland sounds like. The fake news should be focusing on the beautiful life of the tragic death of this Maryland mother, rather than the so-called Maryland father, who is actually an MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist from El Salvador. And when President Trump said, and this actually drew the ire, CNN, it really hit home for them. It was like Dana Bash and the people on CNN, like all upset about it. When Trump said, these people hate our country. That's what Trump said yesterday from the Oval Office on live. He said, the people at CNN hate our country. And then he proceeded to let them talk. Like he literally opened it up. He knew they were going to ask the question. Trump said, these people hate our country. They started going crazy. Caitlin Collins, who somehow, Frankie, how does Caitlin Collins, I was wondering this on the couch in the Oval Office, how does she have the front spot right next to Stephen Miller and Susie Wiles and Mike Waltz? How does she have the front spot? They should put her in the back.
I'd imagine
Okay.
they pay a pretty penny, and the Trump campaign are probably laughing it off because this woman gets eviscerated on public on every channel. It's just
It's a
roast.
like
It's
it.
great.
Yeah. So I think you're right, Frank. I think they want Caitlin Collins in the front. Caitlin Collins, or as some call her, Scott Pressler. You know, here's how we're like they look alike. So anyway, so Caitlin Collins is and Scott Pressler loves that joke. So Caitlin Collins is in the front row and asked this question, and you know, Frankie, I think you're right. I think at this point, I think they put Caitlin Collins there and they let Caitlin Collins go just so the world can see exactly what we're up against. You make a good point. Here is some of the exchange, the retort from Rubio and Miller when Caitlin Collins said, Mr. President, to both leaders, what do you have to say about this Maryland man who was deported to El Salvador unjustly? It was unbelievable. What is going on with the ongoing court case? Again, appellate court judges, like these middle tier judges, ruling that the president has been overruled on matters of foreign policy and national security. That's Banana Republic style shit. That's Venezuelan prison style shit right there. Pardon my French. Roll this clip for me.
I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. Except for Venezuela, that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way, to Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We won a case 9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on your first one just a few days ago.
How long do we have to answer this question from you? Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over, and that's why nobody watches you anymore? You know, you have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
All right, and by the way, all the people who said that, you know, Mike Crispy or that Bukele looks like the, you know, El Salvadorian Latino Mike Crispy because of the outfit, I do find that pretty. Somebody said that to me yesterday. Put him back. Put him on there, Frankie. Put the still frame. It's like, well, listen, if I was going to the Oval Office, I wouldn't wear that. I mean, that's what I wear on my podcast. Well, they're like, how's Mike Crispy? Bukele is taking fashion tips from Mike Crispy, as you can see.
Suave.
So, yeah. So, you know, and Zelensky, it's all you had to do, buddy. You know, why don't you wear a suit? As our friend Brian Glenn. All you had to do was just throw on the black shirt and the jacket. You'd have the power Mike Crispy Bukele look, okay? So there you go. Only difference is that Bukele locks up terrorists and Zelensky gives them billions of dollars. Anyway, so you see there Caitlin Collins getting absolutely dunked on, and Trump just goes, why can't you just say thank you? Like, and then Trump was also, again, I was watching this live, and sometimes, again, we didn't have this for the last 4 years under Trump. Like, we didn't have, under Biden. We didn't have this without Trump. We didn't have just these unscripted look-ins for like an hour to clip into the Oval Office where like just whatever happened in front of cameras, and it's just awesome. And
Well, yeah.
we just didn't have it, Frankie.
Let's be real.
Yeah, it's
Let's
just so
give
cool.
credit where
Yeah.
credit is due to the press, okay? It may have smelt a little bit in those hallways during that presidency. So
That's true.
I understand. If you know you know.
Yeah, they had to. They were. Yeah, the Depends, the diapers could only go so far for so long. So you know, so Caitlin Collins asked that question, and then later again, I watched the whole thing. It's like an hour long. I'm watching it live. Like anytime Trump is doing this live Oval Office, I stop whatever I'm doing, and I just stop. I mute everything. I'm like, I gotta watch. And I just watch it. I turn up the volume, and I'm just like watching it. I'm like, this is all. It never fails to amaze me. So anyway, Trump goes. if you live next to these people, you would move away immediately, wouldn't you? Like come on. Like you're defending this guy. Like if you live next to a person who was purported MS-13 by 2 different courts when he went to a trial, the 2 different judges said, you're MS-13. It's like, how would you feel? Would you live near him? No, you'd say thank you for getting him away.
The funniest thing to me, Mike, is like, the appellate court that was trying to get this man back to America basically cited that it would be dangerous for him to be in the prison because there are rival gangs there. It's like, well, yeah, that's what every gang member deals with in prison. They're in one gang, and then they're in this big building where there's all the gangs. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. So today, in the liberal press, we should have sympathy for the MS-13 because they have been overpowered by Trinidad Aragua. So because of that, we should bring them back in. Yeah, that's the left-wing narrative there. So it went on. It got better. And you also had Bukele in the mix. This is some more from the Oval Office. Roll, Frankie.
That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked
¿Usted lo
President
liberaría,
Bukele,
Presidente
can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to have suggested that I smuggle terrorists into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I
there.
smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into?
That's our boy. That is our boy right there. He goes, your question is preposterous. He goes,
It's just the funniest, Mike.
This is a criminal citizen of our country, and you want us to let him out onto the street and then facilitate his smuggling back into America. Really good and normal for relations between the countries. Yes, Frankie. What the hell?
It's just hilarious because, like, of course they could just answer obviously Trump could say, yeah, obviously if I asked for him, he'd give it back. But it's just hilarious that they're just like putting these idiot reporters in their place and just saying, hey, look at it from an actual perspective of a U.S. citizen, not someone who's trying to destroy this country, and just understand how stupid your questions are. It's incredible. I love it. I loved every bit of this.
When you take it from the perspective of like, hey, let's just like fundamentally, like, how about this? Let's just not try to destroy let's just say things that aren't geared towards a perpetuation of the downfall of people's safety and quality of living and cost and value of their dollar. And yeah, it all becomes kind of simple.
And let's not ignore, Mike, I believe it may have been his interview with Brett Baer during the election. But Trump, in one of his many interviews, actually, no, it wasn't. It was the woman from not MSNBC, it was NBC. That NBC reporter, that straight hair.
Was it
Meet the Press, Welker. And she basically says, like, what should we expect? And Trump's like, listen, unfortunately, we have a problem with immigration, and unfortunately, there will be a point where you're going to see this picture or this video of this woman crying, getting deported, and maybe the family decided to go with them. Yeah. And that's just what we have to go through, and it's unfortunate, and it brings me no pleasure, but this is how we get our country back. And the fact that he warned everyone and let them know that, and now they're going to complain about a male who is a gang member who's being deported. It's not like, oh, this person was, the family has to go too because they've got to follow the father. It's like, no, this is clear, cut, and dry, and somehow they're still milking it.
Such a good point is that, remember the first term, anytime Trump was deporting, they would like find one image of one mother and one kid and put it in front of the camera and say sob story. And back then, I mean, it actually worked on people because people are stupid sheep, I mean, by and large. But nobody really cares about, like people are immune to that now. Nobody at this point is like, oh my goodness, that crying mother. They're like, nah, we've kind of had enough. Like, Trump makes a good point. The public sentiment on deportations is through the roof. Just like how people feel about deportations. And all they have left is a criminal gang member getting deported. And they go, oh my goodness, the criminal gang member is getting deported. It's like, it's not going to work anymore. no matter what CNN does, and it's amazing. And you know what? We're winning. We're on the offense. This is how I know we're on the offense. Because again, back in the first term, like we used to have to defend that stuff, and it was nonsense. But like a lot of the public were stupid cheap. Now we're on the offense. So we're all right. So if you're a savage criminal American, El Salvador's built these big, beautiful jails. Because El Salvador used to be one of the most unsafe, violent, vicious countries on the planet. And Bukele came in and he basically, it was necessary, kind of militarized the law enforcement, built these mega jails, and said, we're locking up all of you blanks. And the mega jails now exist, and Trump's like, hey, what if we send our worst people to the mega jails? Like, they're not run with corruption. Again, a lot of jails in America are run incredibly corrupt. It's for a profit. It's a whole big thing. Like, what if we sent them to the El Salvadorian mega jails? I kind of like that threat. The El Salvador, like you want to commit a rape and a murder in New York City? Imagine like, even if you're an American citizen, it's hanging over your head. You step out of line bad enough, we'll send you to the El Salvadorian mega jail. Good luck. And somehow the press doesn't like that either. Like, I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good threat. I think if you commit a really heinous crime, murders, rapes, etc., and you're found guilty beyond the reasonable doubt, you're a really bad hombre, we send you to the El Salvador jail. I think that's fitting. And I like, yes, Frankie.
I'll say
it's pretty awesome.
It is awesome. However, I will say it's a bit of a listen. If not for 9/11, it's a bit of a slippery slope. If not for this whole thing where a terrorist can be considered some mother from a school who wants to go talk to the board. That's my concern. My only possible concern.
Violent, heinous.
I agree with you, but I'm saying the actual, when he's gone and whoever future leader decides who's a terrorist and who's going to, it could get slippery. That's my only concern, but not with Trump, obviously.
Yes, So Frankie's concern is obviously is that if the globalist left ever seizes power again, they would bastardize that. I get it, but we can never let that happen ever again. I mean, at this point, the Democrat Party needs to be eviscerated into oblivion and rebuilt, and they're still not getting it. But hopefully, at the end of the 4 years, they do not exist in the current form that they do. And I think they're dying off. I think they're dying at the vine. They're going to be a new, more moderate party, which is what's needed. Anyway, Trump talking about a foot on the gas on the offense. We love it. Roll for it.
Just a follow-up question, a clarification. You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens fully naturalized American?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, that includes them. What, do you think there's a special category of person? They're as bad as anybody that comes in. We have bad ones too. And I'm all for it. Because we can do things with the president for less money and have great security. And we have a huge prison population. We have a huge number of prisons, and then we have the private prisons, and some are operated well, I guess, and some aren't. But he does a great job with that. We have others that we're negotiating with too. But no, if it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. Now, we're studying the laws right now. Pam is studying. If we can do that, that's good. And I'm talking about violent people. I'm talking about really bad people. Really bad people. Every bit as bad as the ones coming in. And I made the statement when I heard about this a long time ago now, 4 years ago. When I heard that this guy was having open borders, I said every single criminal from all over the world is going to be dumped into our country. And that's what happened.
Boom. There you go. Get them. Not only are we going to get them out, but if you're that bad, well, then we're going to send you out with them too. All right, now we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Show rolls on. Do not go anywhere.
Boom.
All right, we are doing great. Show is flowing. Everything is back, How about producer? Let the guys rumble and share the stream for producer Frankie. I don't know if he solved it or if the problem went away on its own. Very
like
minute,
this.
but we're perfectionists on this show.
Called my uncle.
It's all perfect. Yes, Uncle Frankie. So, want to thank everybody for tuning in. Wish we had a little more. Come on, we had a little more viewers today, but that's all right. We still love you. It's a Tuesday. We understand. We thank everybody for tuning in. We're very appreciative of everybody who's watching the show today, and want to thank our sponsors for making this all possible. And our first sponsor of the show are our friends at over to iTarget Pro. Guys, head over to itargetpro.com right now and use that promo code CRISPY for 10% off your order. Guys, iTarget Pro is a laser firearm home training system. What does that mean? It means that you're able to train with your gun in the comfort of your own home, okay, in a way where you don't have to spend money on costly ammo, you don't have to go to the gun range. It is an amazing, revolutionary way to train and exercise your Second Amendment rights. Guys, we got Mother's Day coming up. We got Father's Day coming up. I mean, what a great gift to buy. What are you gonna buy? Some stupid, no, this is what you get them, okay? You get them an iTarget Pro. Come on, what are you, a Democrat? Buy an iTarget Pro. It's the best gift ever. They got two different products you can buy. They got the iTarget Cubes, which you see on the screen right here. And then they have the traditional bullseye target, the bullseye target, okay? The bullseye target, they both sync up with the app, okay? And then you were able to track your accuracy in real time, as you can see here. You take the laser bullet, which you get with the order, the laser bullet the size of the ammo that your gun takes. You load it into the chamber, and you were able to dry fire into the targets and track your accuracy and your speed and everything in real time. Such an incredible product. It is incredible. It saves you a ton of money, and it is a guaranteed hit for whoever you buy it for. I'm telling you. My father has the iTarget Pro. He's a former federal air marshal sharpshooter. That's why we have them as a sponsor, because he used it way before we were having a sponsorship with them, and they're amazing. So guys, and they're sponsoring our show on Rav too. So itargetpro.com, promo code CRISPY. We want them to stick around for the long haul. Please, if you're considering buying a gift for anybody, buy this. It's great. All right, promo code CRISPY for 10% off. Let's go. All right, Frankie, how we doing?
Fantastic. How you doing?
I love the borders, Frankie. It looks beautiful. It looks nice and beautiful.
I wonder if
Frankie
they even
with
notice.
The new little subtle features. Nah, the crowd doesn't notice, but that's okay. Kit Kat Mar says, my son loves his iTarget Pro. Mrs. Gutierrez, okay, you're going to be the, you know what? It's tough for who the viewer of the day is going to be. The first person in the chat, I forget who the first, was it Skylar Lee?
It was.
T. Mitchell says, my favorite show ever, so does Vintage. Was it Skylar Lee?
I believe so. I did. I refreshed, so it's lost.
Mrs. Gutierrez, you are, because I do the tongue roll, I want to do the tongue. You are the viewer of the day today. Hey, y'all, I have the iTarget Pro, both Target and the Cubes. So cool. Definitely improved my aim and muscle memory. Totally recommend. And you're in the chat. I haven't shouted you out before. So you know what? You're the viewer of the day. I'm sorry. Who wanted to be the viewer of the day? Was it? Who was it again, Frankie?
Skylar.
I'm sorry. I'm giving Skylar Lee. Maybe next time, Skylar. I love you though too. You're the viewer of the day. I love that Mike said my name right. Yes, some would say that Mike Crispy has, dated a Latina or two in his life. So I can do the tongue roll, I can do the tongue roll. I can do the tongue roll very well. I don't know. Those girls like me for some reason. So it's an Italian thing. So Skylar Lee, I love you too. But maybe tomorrow. We'll make you viewer of the day very soon. So Johnny saying TMI. Very funny. Johnny, you're in the live chat today. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, he said.
You always want to.
He said, I'm glad I'm not watching at 1 o'clock.
You're a midnight guy.
Yeah, let's go.
Wow, Johnny. Wow, what a chat today. Our audience today is small but mighty. That's what we like. And we do it all for you.
Alexander,
we do the show for you guys.
Listen, you're always a viewer of the day, okay? In spirit, at least.
Alexander is phenomenal, too. Listen, I know. The people who are the diehards, and it means the world that you guys support. Again, that's why we're doing the show. We got the low viewership, in the podcast right now, but we're building it all, and we're doing something big, and we got the Rav weekends, and who knows what's coming up in the future, but you could say we're just getting started. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. We appreciate everybody watching the show, and we appreciate our next sponsor. Yes, Frankie. Sorry.
I'm good. We're just,
Oh, I thought yes.
If your last name is Zakari and you're listening to this, feel free.
Yes, and we're gonna. Our next sponsor is OFP Farms. Guys, head over to OFPFarms.com right now and use promo code CRISPY for 15% off your order, guys. That's promo code Crispy for 15% off your order. I just talked to my good friends down over at OP Farms yesterday. They're coming out with a commercial, Frankie. They hear you. They hear you. They said, where's the B-roll? Where's the commercial? They actually told me they're coming out with one.
Let's go.
They said, just for Frankie, we're coming out with one. They said, if Frankie complains about our sponsorship one more time, we're going to be very sad.
Oh,
So we're gonna
no
make a
complaints
commercial.
from me. How dare you? How
Just
dare you?
kidding. Just kidding.
Defame me.
So Frankie, guys, make sure you go to ofpfarms.com and support them. They got soaps, lotions, lip balms, beard products, magnesium, pain relief cream products, you name it. And it is all made with all natural ingredients that you can pronounce. It's the original Maha. Okay, the main ingredient is goat milk and also tallow. These are such healthy things. RFK Jr. talks about them. I'm telling you, when you buy soaps and lotions and lip balms from like the big box stores, it's chemically concocted nonsense. When you're at OFP Farms, you get the best of the best. So guys, go to ofpfarms.com. Use promo code Crispy for 15% off your order. You will not be sorry. It is an amazing product, and you will be on your way to better health, okay? Put the healthy things on and inside your skin and your body. That starts at OP Farms, and they are an America First, God-fearing, God-loving company. We love them. All right. Have you had Trump's 45-47 wine yet? Somebody asked in the chat.
Of course.
They need to be a sponsor. They need to be, I've had that before, too. I got to make them a sponsor. All right, Frankie, let's roll back into it.
We're going to roll back into it in 5, 4, 3, 2, and action.
Hey, and welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispy here. Just want to do a little quick segment on a couple other things that I noticed in the news yesterday that are very important. The negotiations continue between President Trump, Ukraine, and Russia. President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, met with Vladimir Putin the other day, and progress on that front is ongoing. It's pretty refreshing, the fact that we have an administration that is actually negotiating, okay, man to man, with these foreign leaders. Somehow the fake news would convince you that not negotiating and just saying you're going to, bomb a country into oblivion that has nuclear weapons, somehow they've convinced you that that's a prudent strategy. It's not. And then they've also convinced you that, Ukraine totally decided to go to war with Russia on its own. They did not. What happened was that they signed a treaty, and then obviously the globalist factions told Zelensky, you better back out of that treaty because we need this war. And Trump made a very obvious point. Why would a country 20 times the size smaller declare war against this country 20 times bigger? It doesn't happen. It's stupid. Trump pointing out the obvious. Roll it, Frankie.
But that's a war that should have never been allowed to start. And Biden could have stopped it, and Zelensky could have stopped it, and Putin should have never started it. Everybody's to blame.
Have you spoken to President Zelensky, sir, about his offer to purchase more Patriot missile batteries?
Oh, I don't know. He's always looking to purchase missiles. He's against. Listen, when you start a war, you got to know that you can win the war. Right? You don't start a war against somebody that's 20 times your size, and then hope that people give you some missiles.
It is amazing how just like candid and obvious it is when he says it the way that it needs to be said. Which brings me to my next point about candid and obvious all of this is. About President Trump. Again, he rolled out the tariffs, then he rolled them back, then he had the baseline, and then he kept China's tariffs. And by the way, the tariffs, somebody made a very good point yesterday on tariffs online, is that these big companies are really engaged in economic warfare against the consumer. Because think about this, Frankie. I actually didn't hear this, and I'll double, triple check this. Did you hear about this?
I can confirm. Yeah.
What?
I could probably confirm.
That is true. Is that when these companies? So think about like the way that like when Frankie and I tell a story of when I went to the Audi dealer, okay, and I was talking to them, and the guy at the dealer is programmed to say, oh well, your rate of your car lease is going to go up exponentially because of Trump tariffs, and I go, that's interesting. Why is he saying that? Why is he like programmed? Is this a gouging opportunity? Hold on, Frank. Is this a gouging opportunity? And then somebody said this yesterday, and I said, wait a minute. Think about it like this. What does it cost to make the car or to make a shoe, for example? Costs $10, let's say, in China. And then when they send it over to America and there's a tariff on the goods, okay, whatever it costs, I believe that cost is levied on whatever the cost of the good is, right? So it's a 10% tariff on, let's say, $10. So it's an extra $1. Then Nike goes, oh, we're under this crazy tariff. So because of that, when they resell the shoe for $100 in America, now they sell it for $140 and they just say it's a tariff, but they're trying to make more profit. Frankie, is that right or am I wrong?
Yeah, you're pretty much on the money. So, yeah, let's take Nike because that's an easy example. You have a shoe that is literally made for, let's just say, $10. It's probably less, $5. That's made $5 a piece, $10 a piece. It is sold over to China. I mean, it's sold over to Nike in the U.S. for that amount. And then Nike's going to take that. It's going to sell it for $100 to $120, that shoe. And that we've actually seen it. We've seen Chinese citizens outside of a factory and saying, hey, this factory right here, this is actually Lululemon and Under Armour and a few other brands are actually built here. So if you would like, you could actually go directly to the factory website and, before it's shipped over to the U.S., it can go straight to you for $3 instead of $150 for yoga pants. In America, the only difference is it's right before the logo slapped on. So these people are basically going straight to American consumers on like TikTok. These Asian people that own the factories, and they're saying, hey, look, this has always been available. You can buy all this stuff before they slap a logo on it for nothing. And basically, it's opening up this whole realization where people are saying, okay, well, Nike is just covering their own ass because they are already absurdly over price gouging us with stuff that is made, cents on the dollar, and then they sell it to us for absurd money, and it's crumbling on the company. This is one of those things where everyone's like, he's only caring about his billionaire friends. He makes his millionaire friends billionaires. He just helps out the people with all the money. It's like, no, this guy is literally taking down every corporation that has absolutely beat us over the head with all this hype that we need a Nike shoe for $130 when they are literally robbing us. So yeah, you're pretty much on point, Mike.
And you know what? It's amazing how the left, if they were being even a shred of intellectually honest, would applaud this. They would say, wow, he's actually doing this. And because again, if Democrats and Republicans call this out in unison, loud and proud, then these companies would back down completely. Because the tariff, okay, that's levied, the impact on the consumer is what? $1? Again, you have a shoe. It would actually impact the shoe by $1. It hurts them, obviously, at the factory a lot more, but if you actually pass the actual cost on to the consumer, it's $1. And then if you build factories, and in 5 years, you had factories all over the place in America, and during the time you had a $1 increase on $100 shoes, but then you built it all in America, and then it was all better, where would our country be in 5 years? Companies are starting to say, you know what, we're with Trump. Here's NVIDIA. They said they're going to manufacture American-made AI supercomputers in the U.S. for the first time. We're bringing tech back to America. And Trump said, again, during the campaign and early on in his term, he said he is going to expedite the approval processes so these companies can start doing this type of business in America. Again, you want to do this type of business in America, you have to go through a bureaucracy of, spending millions of dollars with legal fees and permits and approvals. And Trump said, hey, I'm just going to expedite that so people can just start working in America quickly and get the stuff going. It's pretty amazing. So, as they say, Trump being right about everything. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. So much more. Do not go anywhere.
Boom, boom.
Boom.
By the way, I do see some things in the chat
yeah.
regarding, Nike might be using dog skin. That I believe that is false.
Dog skin?
I believe that's false.
We need to get Louie and Lola back. Okay, we need to get them on for a segment to confirm or deny. We got to have them sniff a shoe and say friend or foe. So
maybe that's why dogs
Frankie, put you on that.
sniff the shoes. They're like, oh my goodness.
I don't have any dogs. So I cannot do this. This is going to be a task for our
By
boy
the way,
Frankie.
Johnny Stang.
Frankie, you got to figure this one out.
dog skin. That's rough.
What did Johnny say? That's good.
Funny.
That's good. We got comedians. That Johnny, you're making a late breaking play for viewer of the day. I already gave it away, but maybe next time. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I want to thank everybody for watching, guys. Make sure you are tuned in to rumble.com/crispy, where we are broadcasting Monday through Thursday. There will not be a show tomorrow, as I will be traveling about. However, we will be back and better than ever for the rest of the week. And tomorrow we will air an episode of Last Call as a replay, right, Frankie? We'll air a replay of Last Call.
Yes, sir.
So give you a little flavor. So the show will go on at 10 a.m. So whenever I can't do a show for whatever reason, business, politics, whatever. I'm not a cat guy. No, absolutely not. They said, is Mike a cat guy? No, I don't have any dogs. I don't have any cats. I love dogs. Actually, we have a family dog in Florida, but I don't have a dog. Okay, but I love dogs. I really do. So I'm not a cat guy. I mean, cats are all right sometimes, but I'm really not a cat guy. Really not. But love dogs. So anyway, guys, tomorrow, Last Call, and stay tuned every day here for Mike Crispy and producer Frankie at 10 a.m., pumping out the content, and then obviously on Real America's Voice TV, wherever you watch it, Saturday nights at 8 o'clock p.m., new episodes, and it is amazing. So we appreciate all the support. Make sure you follow us on X at Mike Crispy, at producer Frankie. And without further ado, Frankie, let's roll back into our next segment. We got a very special Maha segment for you coming up. Let's do it.
Yeah, we do. On in 5, 4, 3, 2, and action.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispy here. Now, you probably saw yesterday, as we keep up on all things Maha, okay, Mike Crispy yourself, the staple of Maha, losing 20 pounds this year, ever since Kennedy got in. That's the Maha effect. But you probably see the headlines that continue to come out that I don't understand how the left-wing media demonizes it when we have a very unhealthy population. Things have been getting worse and worse and worse for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Kennedy comes in, he's flipping it upside down on its head, and they're like sounding the alarm like it's a bad thing. This is a story right now that's running that says ex-official says he was forced out of the FDA, one of the top officials in the FDA, trying to protect vaccine safety data from RFK Jr. That is the story that they're going with. Now, you probably also saw that RFK announced that he was going to fire, and I had to check my notes when I heard this, 10,000 people from the agency. Like, how can you have an agency where like 10,000 people are totally expendable in the snap of a finger? That's what RFK essentially said. Basically, the bottom line is that the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, is 1,000% broken. And our last HHS leadership, okay, remember Rachel Randy Levine? They weren't doing anything in terms of health except for promoting LGBTQ and sex changes for minors. That's what their priority was. RFK tackling the FDA possibly will have one of the best effects on the long-term health of Americans and kids and adolescents and adults, all alike. Here to talk with me about it is our friend back on the show, Kim Bright, from a great sponsor and supporter of our show, Brightcore. Kim, I got to ask you, what is going on with the FDA? It seems like there's a lot of corruption. Kennedy says he just wants to get rid of everybody, 10,000. I think it's a great thing. But people demonize him trying to fix a problem that seems like if you don't do something about it, there'd be a point of no return. What is going on with the FDA, Kim?
Well, who you have to ask and look at who says that it's that he's demonizing things. You got to look at their agendas. Their agendas are exactly opposite what his are. He's trying to put the truth out there. I'm with you. I'm with him. Wipe them all out. You know, it's going to take you so long to try and find out who's who in the zoo. So just clean house, for goodness sakes, and get some people in that you know are really good and will support your agendas. These guys, they're trying to hide things. They're trying to hide that vaccination data. I bet it's just filled with all kinds of bad stuff that they don't want out there. And, they don't want the retaliation to come back towards them, that they've lied and covered up and they've done all this for money. Bottom lines again. That's what these people are all about. Well,
Yeah.
guess what RFK Jr. and Trump and Maha's about? It's the bottom line of everybody being healthy, not everybody being sick
Yes.
so they can make money off of us. So that's what's going on, Mike.
Yeah, and you know, it is really exploitative. You could say that, you know, and Kennedy would talk about this. The big food, okay, big food, like these companies, okay, that pay off all these, you know, health institutions. We were talking a little bit about that before we went on the air. But it's essentially injecting poison into our society, making us unhealthy. What is the poison doing to people's bodies specifically? You're an expert. What do you see it doing to people's bodies?
I've watched it being done over the last 40, 50 years. It's all the artificial flavors, the artificial colors, the chemicals that they're injecting into the ultra processed foods, the preservatives. If you go to Europe, Mike, there's only 400 different additives they put into foods over there. We put in over 10,000. That's what these criminals have been doing. And when you dump all these chemicals in, not only into the food, but on the food as it's growing, in the soil before you even plant the seeds. And these companies are planting GMO seeds, the Frankenstein seeds from, you know, being pushed by Bill Gates. So, you know, this is all crap. So the whole thing here is we have to clean ourselves out because this is attacking our most vital function in our body, which is our gut. Our gut is so vitally important. And it's the same thing. Like we have a microbiome in our gut, just like our soil that we plant our seeds in has its own microbiome. What is that? It's kind of like a community of all different kinds of creatures, living creatures that are fungus and molds and bacteria, good and bad bacteria and viruses. And they have to stay in a balance. And when you dump all this crap in, all these chemicals into your body, over and over and over again, and generationally, you are weakening not only yourself, but also your children that you're going to have, because it's going to weaken everything in you. Your gut is attached to your brain, excuse me, your brain on a gut-brain axis. It's attached to your skin on a gut-skin axis. So people that are having breakouts on their skin, let's say, or rashes, this all starts in the gut. People that can't think straight, that starts in the gut, brain fog. Do you know that neurotransmitters are made in our gut? 80% of serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter, is made in our gut. And when you have enough serotonin, it makes you happy. It controls your mood. When you don't have enough, you get depressed. So how important is our gut health to keep in balance, to support our brain, our skin, our heart? It affects every single organ in our body, our gut.
Wow. It is pretty unbelievable. And it's like they target, of all things, like all this chemically concocted nonsense that they package and they call it food, but it's not even food. It's literally just like a lab-made square, okay, that they sell off to you. It wreaks havoc on the gut. Again, these are things like I read about this in my spare time, trying to change my diet. And you know what's funny is that, like, you know, you change your diet and you quickly realize like how different you feel when you put certain things into your body that are supposed to be put into your body. So how can we reverse this damage? What needs to be done? Tell us about the things, okay, that you have been pioneering that can actually reverse just the years and years and years without even knowing it of like ruining this and breaking it down. Unfortunately, it's happened to millions of Americans.
Yeah, well, the other thing I wanted to say too before I go into that is we have 70 to 80% of our immunity is in our gut. So think about that. Your immune system, your protective system against invaders and pathogens, that all starts in the gut too. So why are people getting flus more and colds and sicknesses and allergies and all of these things? It all starts in the gut. So what we did is we did a lot of research, and we found out that and 50 years ago when I started teaching people about how to eat real food and how to balance out their diets and take care of themselves so they didn't need to go on drugs. They didn't need to go to, get surgeries and things. So I was Maha before Maha, long time ago. But the whole thing here is I was teaching people how important fermented foods are for your gut. And that's traditionally in Germany, sauerkraut. Traditionally in Israel, pickles. Different countries have different fermented foods, and those fermented foods really address your gut. Well, the premier food, because what they do is they create probiotics as they're fermenting, and probiotics means for life. So, like an antibiotic is against life. Probiotics are for life. So when you take antibiotics, you kill not only the bad guys, but then you kill the good guys too. And if you take enough antibiotics, you're just gone down, down, down in your immunity, never to return again. So the whole thing is eating fermented foods really nourishes your gut. Now, you can eat real food like that. You can make your own sauerkraut. You can make your own pickles and things. But in my research, what I found out, and I learned about it almost 50 years ago from my martial arts teacher. His wife and his mother-in-law taught me how to make kimchi. Now, he's Korean. He was Korean. He was the top black belt in Korea that I studied with. And kimchi, after I've researched it so much and eaten it all these years, I found out that it is like the super, super fermented food on the planet. Why is this? Because it has over 900 different strains of probiotics in it, and it has strains of probiotics that are found in no other fermented food and no other food anywhere on the planet. And what we did was we decided, let's do something with this kimchi. But the problem is, Americans, the taste bothers them. It's an odd taste for them. The smell is different. So we thought, let's put it in a capsule. And before we did that, we did more research, and we found out that there's so much research done over in Korea on this. They had 150,000 people they tested with kimchi. They tested their BMI and their waist circumference, and they ate kimchi from 1 to 3 times a day. And at the end of this 9-year study, they took readings all along. They found out that people lost weight. They curbed their appetites. They felt better. They had more energy. Their waist circumference went down. Their body mass index went down. Same thing with hair. Hair actually grows when they're eating kimchi. It gets thicker. They have so many studies on that showing volume increasing. And it's just exciting because it really does show how our gut is connected everywhere. So what we did is we put the real kimchi in a capsule so everybody can take it without smelling it and tasting it on an everyday basis.
And that actually is phenomenal because I personally, I've had it before. I don't like the taste of it. I mean, I'm saying that. So the capsule, which I have and which I take, makes me obviously feel great. And I've lost some weight this year, as many of the viewers know and can tell. I say it every day to Frankie. He just is sick of hearing it at this point. Just how good I look because I've lost weight because I've focused on these things. Your company, obviously, a couple different products. We've talked about that.
I try, He
that's right.
He needs to hear it, apparently.
Reinforce it.
So, Kim, you guys have a couple different products, but obviously the Kimchi One has exploded in popularity. So, just talk about, one more time for the audience, Kimchi One, how they can get it, where it comes from, what's in it, just so they know, this is the solution that's going to lead to them, fixing these problems and fixing their health.
Yeah, well, it's, again, all gut starts in the health. It's going to improve your digestion. If you're irregular, it's going to help with your immune system, your heart health, your brain health. It helps with people with diabetes, skin and hair. It's going to help because of all those connections back to the gut. So what we're offering to your people out there are these capsules that they can take on an everyday basis. And let me tell you, the first thing that you're going to notice when you take these, you're going to see your skin change. You're going to have more energy. You're going to feel different, and your regularity is going to change. Digestion is going to change. People come up to you and say, "What are you doing?" Hair is going to change. Your skin's going to be radiant. Korean people have beautiful skin, and people don't get sick anymore like they used to when you take this. So the special offer that we'd like to give to your viewers today is 25% off our order of Kimchi One using code MikeCrispy. And you go to mybrightcore.com/crispy, or call 888-927-5980 because we want to talk to you so we can make sure that this is right for you. And you can get up to 50% off when you call, and we'll give you free shipping when you call in too. And if you're one of the first 100 callers, we're going to include a free bottle of vitamin D3, which is great for your overall health, immunity, bone health, everything else. So again, that number is 888-927-5980.
Love it. Love it. Well, listen, I think, again, as a personal testament here, from the last time that we talked to now, the difference, the health, I mean, there you go. What's changed in my diet? Having some fermented foods via the Kimchi One. So, guys, I think you should all take advantage of this while you can. Kim Bright from Brightcore, thank you so much for coming on and talking a little Maha. And again, that website, guys, is mybrightcore.com. Frank, put it back on the screen one more time. mybrightcore.com/Mike Crispy. 25% off your order online. Or you can call 888-927-5980 for up to 50% off, free shipping, and be one of those first 100 callers. Kim, thank you so much for coming on as always. We'll have you back real soon.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have a great day.
All right. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with so much more. Do not go anywhere.